All right. Welcome to this week's episode of Bruffy's Rugby Offload.
Rugby offload in the heat, desert sun in my face, tackles, dust, clouds, no retreat. We set the pace from Bahrain to Doha. Drama in the sands, man. The rugby battlefield is made for tough hands.
Dubai night, Shaheen take flight, we go bold. Dragon spit fire, but we never fold. Exile squad grind like a shark in the deep. Hurricane storming, but we play for keeps. This is rugby in the desert, heat waves collide. Abu Dhabi to Dubai, warriors worldwide. Pass the rock, make the play, this is where we ride. Blood, sweat and sand, left it all on the side.
Two special guests from the UAE team. They are still charging at 35, flying the UAE flag. All right, so we'll do our intros now. Our first guest today is a walking rugby evolution. Once a centre with big dreams and questionable hands. Yes, he's the first to admit he struggled to catch the ball at times. But what he lacked in silky handling, he more than made up for with bone-rattling tackles. These days at 35, he's traded side steps for scrums and now calls the second row home. The current UAE international, a key figure in the Abu Dhabi Harlequins, and perhaps his toughest role yet, brand new dad. Whether he's smashing rucks or rocking a baby to sleep, he's given it 110%. Just don't ask him to catch the ball under pressure, or a baby. Please welcome the diaper bag wearing, hard hitting, bottle prepping legend, Shaun Stevens.
Thank you.
And our other guest today is a man who's been saying just one more year for the past 5 seasons. And we're still waiting for that farewell tour. He's the heartbeat of the forward pack, whether he's carrying hard at number 8 or chopping down runners as a flanker. Off the pitch, he works in anesthesiology, which makes sense because he's been putting the opposition ball carriers to sleep for years. Last season's captain of the Abu Dhabi Harlequins, we don't know about next year yet, he leads by example, hits like a small freight train at the knees, and somehow manages to keep coming back despite more comebacks than a Backstreet Boys reunion. Please welcome the tackle-hungry, ruck-dominating, never actually retiring man of medicine, Chris McKee. Welcome, boys.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've got two of the oldest fellas going round, other than Matty Richards. You're both playing for the UAE at the moment. What does that mean to you, Shaun?
Means a lot to wear the jersey. I've been in and amongst the international UAE rugby team since for about 6 years, more or less, just before COVID. Means a lot. One of the highlights for me personally, living here in the UAE, just over a decade. A big goal achieved or a big dream come true personally. That's for me. 35 years old, still got it. Trying to.
I mean, it's amazing. It's a great opportunity to play at an international level. Obviously, I'd have loved to have played for England and the Lions one day, but I feel that might have passed me now. Farrell could have called me up, but it's like
Can't go back now anyway. You've got a five-year transition back to England, don't you?
40 years old, that's fine, I can do it. But no, it's a great
could be coming up for you.
it's a great honour to be able to play and love being involved in any opportunity.
Now, you have been saying one more year since about 2019. What keeps you coming back?
To be fair, it was Ali Thompson, sort of after COVID. He reminded me like you're a long time retired. So I think he played up until his early or mid 40s or something. And he just said you're a long time retired, and it was sort of stuck with me. Like, it's great stress release and everything. It's that separation from work and home. For now, every year it is tougher, but maybe one more year.
Always one more year. All right, let's review what the last couple of weeks' games. We had on June 14th. I must say the commentary on June 14th was amazing. We versed Hong Kong, China. It was a tough game. Shawnee, what are your thoughts about that game?
Tough game. Score, don't think reflected the amount of work and effort the boys put in. Again, unfortunately, we were just hard done by a better team on the day. You know, can't take away the boys' effort, passion, determination, dedication to, you know, try and get a W against the favourites of Hong Kong. Didn't work this time, you know, but lots to learn. There was loads that we learned from that game, which was quite positive. And again, something Jock said, and I'm pretty sure he said it in the report with the National as well. And it's, you know, we knew it wasn't good enough. We knew that every player in that squad had to do better. So yeah, there was loads to learn from that game. Not only our strategy and what we want, but also introspectively about ourselves and what we need to do to try and, you know, move forward, get that win against South Korea, which we did.
I mean, yeah, like watching it from the stands, I was like, there were some moments of greatness throughout the game. Like the guys put in some serious performances, but it just wasn't quite there. And obviously Hong Kong China are a phenomenal team. So you just you gotta prep, but then you take what you can from that game and then prep it for the next one, which was Korea.
Obviously. It was interesting to see big Patrick Jenkins in there. I don't know if either of you guys played with him at the Harlequins.
I might have played with him and against him a few times. Yeah. But yeah, not really much.
Big boy.
Before my time, I think.
I think he played UK sevens as a junior.
Oh yeah, great.
Great. To a lot, and then
brilliant.
Like you, he's a lot now. All right, but a week later, you bounced back against South Korea. A lot of heart had to be shown after going down 2 tries early in the second half. What shifted between the 2 matches?
I mean, the guys the coaches had put in a lot of prep work both for Hong Kong and Korea, and then they had some quite honest chats with, I think, a few of the boys and to the squad in general, just about, we've put all this prep in and now it's just down to you guys. So a lot of the onus was put on the players to go out, and we knew we had to win. So, like, everyone actually, I think, just took a bit more of that accountability on themselves to actually really go out and make sure we put in a performance. And that's guys coming off the bench. Obviously, there's some changes around. Matt Mills started on the bench, came on at 40 minutes for Mosi, and like played his heart out. Me and Shawnee come on about 25, 30 minutes or so, just going everything we can for that, whatever time we get. So I think the guys just really made that effort.
Energy boost was really good, and then obviously the scrum, big turnaround. Hong Kong, it seemed a bit like Hong Kong China seemed to have your measure a little bit in the scrum, but against South Korea, a couple of changes there, a couple of guys in, and really made a difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, even the starting squad, the scrums were looking so solid, and when we came on, you know, we were just adding to what was already there. It's, you know, I think it's one of our strengths, and I just think we underutilized it previously, or we perhaps didn't have the belief. I don't know.
I think Hong Kong as well, they are at that sort of next level a little bit. So
having contracted players.
Yeah, like, so defensively trying to fight against that scrum when they're coming at you with such power. Like Korea were strong, powerful team. Like there's some big guys in that squad, but I think it just wasn't. It's not the same as Hong Kong. Personally.
But it clicked. That's what I liked about the South Korea game, was even when we came on in that second half, it just clicked. It didn't get better or worse. It just we were there. The front 8, one unit, and we went forward, which was great to see. There was no, you know, we didn't take our foot off the pedal.
Yeah, sometimes when you make the subs, you have a bit of
there's a
drop
gap,
or a little finding your feet sort of thing, and I don't think we had that. We came straight in. Like we'd done a lot of prep. I mean, we did 3
different positions,
3 training
going
sessions
in at locks,
in
going
Korea.
at flanker.
Yeah, everyone practicing different line-out spots, different jumping, different throwers, everything. Yeah. So just making sure that we were as prepped as we could be.
Yeah, I think the secret was the Korean barbecue, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
You might have to make that a pre-match.
Oh mate,
I'm keen.
Abu Dhabi as well. All right. So we won that game. You guys got a few more minutes. Chris, obviously you didn't play against Hong Kong, but then both you got 20, 25 minutes against South Korea. A bit more time to make that impact and bring the energy. Can you talk us through that type of role?
I mean, me and Shawnee had been talking in the week and when we were in Korea, chatting away about what we wanted to bring to that game. Like we're not, I mean, Shawnee's a bit bigger than me, but we're not big powerhouses. We're not like Millsy's a big lad. He carries hard, tackles well. So we just discussed about any minute we're on that pitch, any time we get, just 100 miles an hour as fast as you
Just
can.
work rate, just work. Yeah.
I
Just
think
whatever we
I've
do.
told Erlo enough times that effort is a choice.
Yeah.
So
And again, even if it's something that you can control, you can't always control, whether it's the weather
Yeah.
or for example, set piece, but we can control the effort that we put in, and we, the days building up to the South Korea game was just when we come on, it's like you said, 100 miles an hour. We've got to push. We've got not only do that, but we've got to make sure we're lifting up the other players as well, who might be a bit on their last legs, is trying to find that energy to see out that last 20.
and the things that require like no talent. I think James McCarthy said a few times last year in the Quins.
Non-talent.
Those no talent choices of getting on your feet, running. It's not. This is just a choice you make if you're going to lie on the floor.
Yeah.
So that was like, however much time we get, we have to make those choices to really go for it.
Yeah.
The UAE level, rugby level, has changed over the last few years. I know, Chris, you only came in last season. Shawnee, you've been in the around the ranks for a little bit longer. What are the big changes you've seen so far?
Definitely at club level, rugby's definitely improved. Game's got a lot more. It's got faster. Boys are getting bigger. It's definitely slowly making that transition of where we were purely amateur to, hopefully getting to that sort of semi-pro, semi-professional type criteria, I'd say, or level. But yeah, the game's definitely improved. You look at the caliber of coaches that you have in the GCC region, just in Dubai alone. With Jacques
and ex-international players. And
you've got
high-level coaches.
You've got the talent pool here, so it's just utilizing it effectively.
Yeah. I think, like mentioning Hong Kong, China, obviously they're just that maybe 5-10 years ahead of us potentially. So that's where we want to be, and obviously we go out and try and compete with them. But that's I think our next step of whether it's
be
central contracts and those sort of things. Obviously, there's a lot of money involved, and that investment's got to be there. But
yeah, I mean, we don't know all that side of it, but you'd like to think that UAE rugby as a whole, 15s and 7s program is on the up, and it has been for a while.
As well.
The women's as well. Even if you look at the local players, the Emiratis, that the number of Emiratis playing in that Shaheen team in the 7s, I think they just come back off a win in Portugal. And there's some really talented boys there, but it's just.
And they come down and run with us. Like 15s training.
Yeah,
stuff as well.
And they don't hold back. We don't hold back. It's great. So it is on the up.
Yeah.
We just need to see what can be done to sort of keep that going.
Yeah, hopefully not lose that momentum that is like whether we make the World Cup or don't make the World Cup or anything. Hopefully the rugby, for us, I think we just want to leave it in a better position than we started.
Yeah.
Obviously we're coming to the twilight years of our rugby careers maybe. So, it'd be great to see what happens in 5, 10, 15 years down the line.
Will we see you both at the Vet 7s this year?
100%.
All right. Shawnee, you've transitioned from centre to lock over the years. I know there's a bit of time at flanker, and you still like to hang on the edge of the scrum when you can. How's your game changed?
To be honest, I don't think my game has changed all that much.
Still drop the ball.
Still drop every now and again. Less now.
Yeah.
But in terms of the way that I play, yes, there was a big change going from backline to when I transitioned from the centres to the back row, where you had more time on the ball. But from then onwards, game didn't really change for me. It was just making sure you're making those hits, trying to steal ball, win those rucks, attack the gain line. The game doesn't really change as much. Even motivation-wise, it was always the same. You're trying to get past that gain line, whether it's by 1 meter or 1 centimeter. So that didn't really change much for me, to be honest.
Yeah. Chris, what sacrifices do you think you've had to make to stay competitive at this age?
I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily say it's my sacrifice. I think me and Shawnee, obviously both, all of us, girlfriends, wives, you guys have kids, it's the sacrifice I think sometimes your family makes for you to be able to do it.
100%.
We're at work 40 hours a week, and then we're driving up and back from Dubai or going even just Harlequins rugby training. It's more time out of your week. It's 6 to 10,
You know,
12 hours in a
3
week.
times a week you're away.
Yeah.
So, you know, so we have to give credit to our
Yeah.
wives, our partners,
Yeah.
because without them, we
Couldn't do it without you.
we couldn't do any of this, to be honest.
Love you,
But
mate.
yeah, but it is like, I mean, we can make sacrifices, whether that's just going out running more, trying to be fit. But I think me and Shawnee, like the guys, especially Semps, like we all trying to stay fit anyway. That's not really
It's
anything
part of
we
being a rugby
change.
player in
Yeah.
any way. So that shouldn't, if
So
you want to
it's-
play competitive, I've always said this, like there's a big difference between social and competitive. If you want to play competitive, then, you know, doesn't matter which club you play for, whether there's let's say, an athletic program in place or not. It's the discipline and the responsibility of yourself to go for that run, to try and go to that gym session,
Yeah.
whether you're tired and you're lazy and you don't want to do it. That's what keeps us competitive, I think.
And I think through the league, like whether it's 1s, 2s, 3s, everyone's trying to play to the highest standard they can. So yeah, like
There are people
There are-
beneath trying to take your spot. There are other players. You know, it's not like you're just guaranteed
yeah.
to always be in that position. But yeah, you've got to remember that, you know, no one's bigger than the game. No one's bigger than the club. So I think that's one of the reasons I think we get to stay more competitive as well, because we don't mind playing from the bench.
Yeah, and I mean, for
It's
me,
just being involved, you know,
yeah. I mean,
less
like
chance
for
for
me last
injury.
year, Tyler coming into the Quins, 21 years old, 6'2", 105, 10 kilos
Just
or
a-
something.
yeah,
And I'm 35, he calls me uncle.
yeah, same.
So I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm now being pushed. And we had Brandon a couple of years ago coming
Oh,
in. We had
ankle
Johan
biter.
obviously playing, Brandon, Siri, like all the guys actually pushing. We've like our back row at the Quins and forwards this year especially, very competitive. A lot of people fighting your position. So no one's bigger than the squad. I've come off the bench a couple of times this
Yeah.
year, and been subbed at 60 minutes. And obviously, but Tyler, whoever's coming on is pushing for those spots. So you have to keep working.
Shawnee, you're a new dad. Have you had to has it been hard juggling fatherhood?
Personally, for me, it's not. I wouldn't say it was hard juggling it. Again, I couldn't do it without my wife, Leah. It has been a transition, but you know, we're fully supportive of each other. She understands that, you know, I am, like Mickey says, at the twilight of our rugby career. So, you know, like one last rodeo. So she understands that part, and that, you know, rugby's part of our identity. So whether you're a player or you're coaching, or, you know, like even yourself, you're doing this podcast, you're always involved. You're still giving time, you know, to rugby. But yeah, I don't want to say it's been difficult, because Grayson's an absolute little legend. Not fussy at all.
Yet.
Sleeps. Yeah, yet. I was waiting for the yet. But no, it's been great. And hopefully one day he'll watch this.
Yeah.
Be proud of his old man.
Good babies, tough toddlers.
Yeah.
So I'm going through it now. Actually, we just went to a birthday party. She slept the entire time. It was fantastic.
Amazing.
All right. What advice would you give to young players starting their rugby journey in the golf?
Ooh.
I mean the golf region, not the sport.
Again, you can almost touch back on that, how we stayed competitive for so long, and that's discipline, self-preservation. You've got to look after yourself. You know, if you're
8 to 10
gonna,
hours sleep.
if you're gonna get distracted with all the lights and the glitz and the glamour and the brunches here, and you still want to play competitive rugby, it's probably not going to work. So, you know, look after yourself, and to be honest, doesn't matter what team you play for. Be a club man. Be a team player. Don't be there just for yourself. Like, you know, get yourself involved with the club, whether it's the Dragons or the Quins or the Exiles. That's the only way you actually, I think, improve as a player and as a human being.
Yeah, I think that social side of it, like I know Johnny started the Boys Club as well,
Yes.
like to work
Yeah.
on men's mental health, but that social side of rugby does a lot for guys on that and on that side of things as well. So it's really important to stay involved
Definitely.
and get involved with the club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we said, like the stress relief side of it, of going out with 15 mates, smashing each other up, going and playing the Exiles, and basically having a war for 80 minutes,
Yeah.
and then just that release and like obviously Menathon with Matt Keating running that out of Prime Hub. You got Boys Club, all these mental health resources now becoming more available, but also just being around the club, being around your mates there. That's such a key thing, and I think it's becoming more appreciated now. I think people didn't really look at it previously.
Yeah, and I know men of our vintage are a bit more stubborn with their talking about some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's good that it's growing.
Definitely.
All right. While we're going on it, let's move away from that serious side of stuff and move towards some rapid fire questions. So no thinking, just answer. All right. Shawnee, what teammate would you never let babysit your child?
John Stannard.
Are you sure you don't want to think about it? All right, bad luck, Stannard. You're out. Chris, if you had a child, you can choose anyone except for Stannard.
Anyone except Stannard. Tyler.
Why, they're probably similar ages. All right, Chris, what's worse, a missed tackle or a horrendous knock-on?
Horrendous knock-on.
Sean?
I'm going to go miss tackle.
Which player would you least like to date your sister, Sean, if you had a sister?
Probably Reece Geely.
Chris?
John Stannard.
Sorry, John.
Who would you be most okay with dating your sister, Chris?
Dave Evans.
Sean?
Dave Funston.
Dave Funston, the Daves.
The Daves.
2 Daves.
All right, who is the player most likely to fake a hamstring to skip fitness?
Erlo.
Erlo.
Or Siri. Or Ice.
Yes, in that order.
Yeah.
Or Corey?
Oh, Corey, yes.
All right, which player from the Quins or the UAE is punching the most in terms of his significant other?
Oh, Ethan Matthews.
We've got UAE as well, yeah. I mean, gotta go. Erlo.
Yeah, Erlo's punching as well.
Dave Funston.
Dave
I think all the
Funston.
lads really
Yeah, I mean, they are too good for us. The amount of time we don't.
A lot of people actually punch. A lot of them are punching.
Yeah.
There's a lot of answers there.
Yeah. All right, Shawnee, if you're in a charity boxing match, who would you like to fight from the UAE team?
Toby.
Now pick someone in your weight class.
Gotta be Jean Boat, surely.
Yeah, I'll go Jean Boats.
Just watch out for the reach.
Yeah, I'd say he's got a lot
Chris?
of. Matt Mills,
Matt Mills.
the Northampton fight.
Yeah. All right. You're going to get offered a contract to play rugby, except you have to sing a karaoke song perfectly to get yourself through. What song are you singing, Chris?
Backstreet Boys, I want it that way.
Oh,
Shawnee?
Eiffel 65.
Blue Double D.
That's it.
All right. What's your go-to excuse when you're late to training?
Stuck at work.
Traffic.
Traffic. It's the easy one. It's been
Easy
an
one.
accident. Does anyone believe it?
I do.
You'd have to ask the coaches.
As one of them previously, no. One food you'd ban from a post-match dinner. We obviously get a lot of them in UAE, the post-game.
Everything
feeds.
beige. Everything beige.
Biryani.
Yeah, I'll get rid of the chicken tikka. It used to be the same thing every week, or the
Yeah.
butter chicken was like at every
Butter
club,
chicken,
but-
yeah.
Yeah. All right. And is there a past UAE player that you'd love to play the final game against Sri Lanka this coming weekend with? Someone you play from the past, like in the UAE setup.
I'll go with a guy called Garth van Niekerk. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago, but I would have liked to have played one more game with him, to be honest. That would be good.
I mean, I'd love to bring back Nutsy Muzz in their prime, maybe a few years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
just especially for that game, just quality players.
Murray Reason Muzz.
Yeah.
Capped out for the UAE, didn't he? And
Yeah,
I don't know if Nuddy got in.
Finger would have been a great
Finger.
one. Finger.
Finger.
Would have been a great one.
and I don't know if he ever actually.
know Finger's real name.
Chris Jones Griffiths.
Chris Jones Griffiths.
Yeah.
Or Spider.
Or Spider.
You try to Donovan, you nickname that one stage in you, Shawnee.
Also, I don't know if he ever actually. I don't think he played for the UAE, but Brian Geraghty. If I could,
BOG.
especially against, like you said, Sri Lanka, because it's just so fast, like unstoppable.
And wire, like strong
Yeah,
as well. Like
yeah.
can always be game liner, very good player. All right. Okay, so Shawnee, you kind of touched on this one a bit. Any teammate from anywhere
Ah,
that you could play one, not just a UAE game, but just a game of rugby with?
there's a few. I'd actually go. There's a guy that moved back to the UK. His name's Paul Hineshaw. He used to play with me at the Saracens. He was a hooker. Tiny little fella, but honestly, didn't look much about him, but could make the most monstrous hits that anyone's ever seen on a rugby field. And the softest hands with his darts. His darts were great as well. So, Paul Hineshaw.
Nice. Chris?
My first year at the Quins, running out alternating eights with Samisi. So I'd love to bring Samisi back. I know he had a little cameo last year, but yeah, big Ratu Samisi.
For viewers' reference, Samisi is 140 kilo, 6'5" Fijian.
Same.
Very similar.
Very
physique to
similar.
Chris.
Just the skin tone's a little bit different.
5'9", 5'10",
We'll go with 6 foot.
and maybe weighs
Round
80
up.
kilos, 85.
100. Wet through.
When anyway. All right. Best post-match celebration you've ever had with the Queens?
Got to be when we beat the Exiles in
In
the
the
Prem
UAE Prem.
final, maybe 3 years ago
4 or
now.
5 years, I think. 4 years.
Maybe.
A couple of years ago,
Yeah.
after COVID, after
Yeah.
COVID,
We
it
had
was basically a 2-day bender, wasn't it? It
2
would just
day,
be
like we
from the
finished
game,
straight
bus.
to there, changing, and it was a great game as well.
a really good game.
McCarthy with that questionable knock on, trying to intercept the ball, but we'll allow it. And then up into their bar, then the rollover for the Sunday up at
Oh,
Irish Vickers World
so
Trade
good.
Centre with Gaelic tournament, everything was awesome.
That was a very big celebration as part of the coaching team. I concur. It was pretty good. All right. Okay. So, what legacy do you hope to leave behind in UAE rugby?
For me, if like we touched on earlier, if the game is in a better position when I leave the country to when I arrived, whether that's down, obviously not necessarily down to me, but anything that I can do that makes raises the level in the country is awesome.
For me, it would be me just to make sure my mates and my family here, my family home, are actually proud of what I've achieved. Again, I'll be the first one to say, not the greatest hands, but nothing like a little bit of hard work, a little bit of sacrifice, a little bit of determination, get you to where you want to be. So my legacy would just be, you might not be the most talented, but if you work hard, who knows?
Effort is
Who
a
knows?
choice.
Yeah.
Make my kid proud as well.
Now, we've got one more game of the Asia Championship.
Yes.
We've got Sri Lanka coming up, and Andrew Semple, a Quins man, also a
Quins
veteran
too.
like yourself, selves, I should say. What's it like with Semps leading for the last couple of games, obviously, over Matt Mills, who's previously been the stalwart captain?
Semps is a phenomenal player. Like I think everyone in the region knows him, knows
And
that-
respects him.
and and at the training sessions, like he's not the loudest, most vocal guy, despite what some of the refs might think. But he, when he speaks, people listen. He adds value when he talks.
Yeah.
And then
He also allows
Yeah.
other people to lead as well. So you've got your leaders, especially in the front with Matt Mills and Jean and Peter and
Brad.
Rian and Brad and those guys. He allows them to lead, which I think does speak volumes of the leader that Semps is.
and he'll go out and he's going to do his job.
Yeah.
He will
But he
lead
does
by
have that
example.
expectation of you then
Yeah.
to make sure he'll be the first one to call you out actually if you're not doing your job. And I know that from club experience.
Yeah, a few years. At the Quins.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we do have Sri Lanka next weekend. What are our focuses as the UAE team?
I think our focus as a whole has always been on set piece. So our line outs and our scrums, we need to be dominant there. You win your set piece, the score kind of speaks for itself. And then if you just look at the type of game Sri Lanka plays or the type of players they are, they're fast, they're wiry, they'll be fit, they'll be super fit.
Yeah.
But we've got to then play our game.
I think control the tempo.
Control
as
the
well. Like,
tempo.
if we can starve them of possession.
Yeah, you can't play rugby
then-
without the ball.
yeah.
So, making sure, again, it's probably the same every time you play any other team is you've got to make sure you win those tackles, those
Yeah.
collisions. You've got to win those. you can't take a step back. They've got to go back every time. And I think obviously our discipline's actually been really good over the last couple of weeks. Except Rian, obviously.
He was very harshly done by him. I
It's just a bit. I think it's just a bit tired.
He needed a rest.
It's just a bit tired. Yeah.
They don't come around too often. All right. So we've got tours starting leaving on Wednesday.
Yes,
Now,
Wednesday.
Shawnee, you're on holidays already. Chris, work signed you off okay?
Yeah, work has been great. They've allowed me the leave both for the Korea game and the Sri Lankan. Obviously, there's not a lot of notice because coaches are picking the squad, but I pre-warned and pre-requested with my boss that if selected. So yeah, that's been great. And
Now, we do have to shout out to all the jobs and everything that let the lads travel. We're a fully amateur team. Everybody has
Yeah.
a full-time job. So
correct.
we're thankful for all the jobs for everybody that let us go. Shawnee's on holidays. He's got big summer vacation. So
That's it.
very, very lucky. I'm in the same boat, so I can't complain too much. But thank you very much, boys, for coming on. Any last things?
Just from me, thank you, Bruffy, for first of all having us. And this podcast that you're doing, episode was it 22?
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Growing the game of rugby in Abu Dhabi,
putting the
UAE,
spotlight
putting the
in
spotlight.
the region as well. Like,
Obviously, you focus on the Quins, which is really great.
yeah,
But
Trying to
you do shed your spotlight on the other teams as well. But I think the whole rugby community in the UAE is
and the golf, like Bahrain,
in the golf that
everything.
you can already see how they've started sharing your stories, your channel's growing. This setup that you've got going here, you can only go up and on. So I think for me, I just want to say thank you for
Yeah.
inviting us, Team Bin Juice.
One more year.
One more year.
All right.
You've said it now. That's it. You heard it. It's on record.
Thank you very much, boys, for coming in. And that's a wrap on Bruffy's Rugby Offload for this week. Cheers, guys.
Rugby offload in the heat, desert sun in my face. Tackles, dust, clouds, no retreat. We set the pace from Bahrain to Doha. Drama in the sands, man. The rugby battlefield is made for tough hands.